go. Event number 1, girls 20-yard medley relay, junior varsity. Quiet for the start, please. Swings the Blaine away, walking the prom. Moves the Flanders, Smith and Happy, Gabriella Olsen. Lane 2 for Blaine. To the Bowman, Kenny Rivard, Evan Sullivan, Chelsea Carrick. Lane 3 for Blaine. Taylor Ballard, James Zabinski, Madeline Mario, Steve Moy. Lane 4 for Blaine, Brianna Rassinius, Kevin Nelson, Elena Prentice, and Lane 5. Lane 5 for Blaine, Jennifer Brown, Kelly Sorensen, Kristen Carrick, and Isabel Maria. Lane 7 for Blaine, Sophia Harris, Ella Texas, Morgan Douglas, Layla Rassinius.
Hello everyone and welcome to Northdale Middle School for the annual Battle of Supremacy on the pool deck between the two pool mates, Coon Rapids and Blaine. Joe Young up above the action, joined by former Cardinal head coach Doug Donaldson. Doug, thanks for being with me today.
Thanks for having me. Very happy to be here.
Plenty of time to talk about the differences in these two programs, but Blaine with nearly 3 times the number of the Cardinals. What, if you're still on the sideline, are you telling your girls?
This is really about just growing as a team and growing as individuals, just trying to improve on your previous swims, your previous times, just getting better. Not worrying about the other team, not worrying about the times necessarily that the other team is putting up, just focusing on your own races, those little details that you need to do. to really get better. And for Blaine, it's about, working on those race details, preparing yourself for the bigger meets that are really going to matter. This is always an opportunity to go out and earn a section spot. It's a competitive size team. Being at 60, there's a lot of spots that are going to be tough to garner for a section meet. So, it's all about getting out there, getting that experience, and just trying to see where you fit.
Well, we were looking at new head coach Ashley Radis, of course, was one of your assistants for 6 or 7 seasons. What do you think about her taking over?
I'm so excited for Ashley. She brings such a great energy. The program, she really wants to make it a fun experience for everyone, and she's got a lot of experience. She coached with me for 6 years. She was a big part of our team. She's an alumni of the program, so she definitely has Coon Rapids at heart, and she cares about the team. She cares about the girls, and this is all about starting fresh and starting anew and trying to really build from here. So very excited for her.
Not sure what the added delay is before we get our first event, the 200 medley relay. Coon Rapids will be swimming in lane 2 and 6. Blaine filling the odd lanes.
I will say it appears we have a scoreboard issue. And I do know, just a little insight, we've been having some scoreboard issues. We are looking at getting a new scoreboard for the pool. So this is potentially something we might be dealing with tonight. Just a heads up to everybody.
I was going to ask if it was because John retired.
Well, John's actually back.
Oh,
yeah, John is back. He is helping out with Coon Rapids. He's not here for the Blaine meet. And so he's back to help out Ashley and her crew. And, I joked that he got tired of seeing my ugly face all the time. So that's why he retired. And now that there's a fresh new face, he's willing to come back. So, but yeah, there was some scoreboard issues happening before the meet started. And it looks like they have tried to do a full reset to get it to work. No guarantees, unfortunately, whether or not it'll work. So we might just be looking at the races and talking about techniques tonight and places. Old school.
Old school. That's why they have the timer, individual timers at the end of every lane anyhow.
Yep.
Now the real pressure is on the parents who have taken up that spot along the wall. They said, I have to volunteer for one race. I'm going to do the Coon Rapids and Blaine race. That's the race it turns out you're going to be most needed. Luckily, in those volunteer hours.
Luckily, Joe, just so you understand, the electronic timing system will still work without the scoreboard. So they will still get the computer results. They'll need the stopwatch backups, obviously, just in case. The main issue is for us viewers. We don't get nearly as much information. So that's the main problem. But
so the timing will still be...
It'll still be accurate, yeah. Yeah, there shouldn't be any issues with the timing.
Then, how often are the timers double checking the, what they have versus what the official result is normally? I mean, I've always found it interesting that you have an extra, backup in place every meet.
Yeah.
And apparently, we have some time to talk.
It looks like it, yeah. It's going to take some time for the scoreboard to pop back on since they turned it off, if they get it back, which is a difficult and complicated process, having done it many times myself. But yeah, in terms of the backup time, it's really interesting. Okay, sorry, I should rephrase that. It's not actually that interesting, I think, for people outside of the sport. But basically, you have the touch pad in the water. That, when the swimmer touches the pad, that stops the computer system that runs the clock system. So that will actually be a time on its own. We have something called a backup button. If you look at the starting blocks, there's a button hanging from the blocks. When the timers push that button, it also stops a secondary clock, and then they have a stopwatch time that they stop as well. So you have 3 times. So if there's an issue with the pad or an issue with a backup button, then you have 2 good times you can take to compare and make sure that your placings are right in the pool based on the times. And there's actually rules in place about what times to take, what the process is, and all that. So
Didn't understand that there was a third timer involved. You got to.
yeah,
Well, I suppose when every 1/10 of a second matters.
yes, yeah. In a Tuesday evening dual meet, maybe that's not a big deal, but in a regular section meet, a championship state qualification on the line, that's a big deal. So.
So we start with the 200 medley relay in lane 2 toward the bottom of your screen. Lily Lee Moulton will give way to Lily Brummett, one of the senior captains, then Bella Barden and Tyler Shuda. And then up near the top for Coon Rapids, Lillian Defoe, who is actually leading the race through her leg. And she will tap up and let Evelyn Altapeter into the water, as she just did. Gabrielle Lewis and Emily Lovin complete that team. For Blaine, from top to bottom, you have in lane 7, Leighton, Lawrence, Wester, and Scott. In 5, you have Edwards, Vang, Pollock, and Forrest. In 3, you have Clark, Thompson, Haig, and Davini. And in 1, at the bottom of your screen, Graff, Lechner, Jensen, and Penoyer.
Really awesome leadoff leg by Lillian Defoe. She is a very, very quality backstroker and continues to improve for Coon Rapids, and good to see her get out there and get a good lead for the Cardinals.
Brummett and Thompson nearly even as they hit the wall, and now you have Annika Haig for Blaine against Bella Barden of Coon Rapids. A lot of youth on both of these rosters for the relays. But Coon Rapids is 7th, 8th, 9th, and 12th grader in that team that's leading off the way. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at, I always get mixed up top to bottom.
It's okay.
It's Altpeter, Gabrielle Lewis, and Emily Lovin now in the water and trying to track down Reese Forrest.
Be nice to see if Emily here, it looks like she's going to get a 2nd place for the Cardinals, so that's good. I should have brought my stopwatch. We could have
had a 4th time.
Yeah, we could have. Well, we could have been. I could read the time off at least for the winner in 2nd place and all that.
So the team of Edwards, Vang, Pollock, and Forrest take 1st place for the Bengals. Cardinals get 6 points out of the first event. 4 points.
4 points.
Out of the first event, trail 10 to 4. We'll take a break. Up next, the 200 freestyle. You're watching girls high school swimming and diving on CTN. back at Northdale Middle School pool. So a first and third finish in the 200 medley relay gives the Blaine Bengals the early 10-4 lead. Joe Young and Doug Donaldson here for today's contest. For the 200 freestyle, always want to give them plenty of silence.
Yes.
For the start. From top to bottom of your screen, Blaine's Sydney Edwards, Coon Rapids' Liz Hogarth, Blaine's Arabella Layton, Coon Rapids' Lillian Defoe, Blaine's Lily Clark, Coon Rapids' Ella No, and Blaine Callie Sorensen is down at the bottom of the screen.
The 200 free is certainly an interesting race. It was one of my favorite races when I swam, mainly because there's a lot of strategy involved. You can either try to take it out aggressively or try to maybe take it off a little bit the first easy 100 and then try to bring it back. But when I was coaching our athletes on how to swim this, I like to emphasize trying to go out aggressively, seeing if you can hold on, mainly because a lot of times people just don't take it up fast enough to really give themselves a chance to have a good time.
Well, so, Blaine's 7th grader Sydney Edwards definitely attacking from the start. Yes. She is way out in front.
Flying out there. 103.3 on the first 100. That's a really, really nice split. We'll see how she comes back. I'm interested to see how the Cardinals respond after the 200 medley relay, especially Lillian in lane 4. It's not easy to go back-to-back, so it'll be interesting to see how she swims here. She's doing solid in terms of the first 150 yards here, but yeah, definitely needs to get that kick involved a little bit more.
Blaine's Lily Clark has pulled into the number 3 spot, and the Cardinals are currently 4, 5, 6. Sydney Edwards way ahead as she gets into the home stretch, has almost half a length ahead of teammate Arabella Layton in 5. Edwards will tag up in 2:08.95.
That's a really nice time for a 7th grader early in the season. 2:08.95. Fantastic swim.
Cardinals will grab 4th and 5th, but a podium sweep for the Bengals. They continue to build the lead early. We'll take a break, be back with the 200 individual medley up next on CTN.
All right, Howie, take a look. Our opponents are on this side, and the Cardinals are over here. Where's the line of scrimmage?
Right here.
Good. So obviously the Cards want to get the ball downfield anywhere over here, and the other guys are pushing back this way over here. So one strategy would take...
Hey, Joe!
What?
Tic-tac-toe, I win! Want to know the who, what, when, and where of Coon Rapids? Then follow CTN on social media. It's that simple. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, keep up with local news, sports, and events. And the people who make our community such a great place to live. So give us a follow, like, share, or subscribe, and always be the first to know what's up in Coon Rapids. That's CTN, helping you stay connected.
Back at Northdale Middle School pool, girls high school swimming and diving. The border battle between the Cardinals and the Bengals. Blaine showing well so far, a 1-3 finish in the 200 medley relay and then a 1-2-3 finish in the 200 free. We move on to the 200 IM. Bengals will have Morgan Wester, Marissa Vang, Callie Stark, and Alexis Edwards in the pool. For the Cardinals, Evelyn Altpeter, Marissa Vang, Gabrielle Lewis, and Emily Lovin. They are in lanes 2, 4, and 6 respectively for the Cardinals.
200 individual medley. Each swimmer does 50 yards of each stroke, starting with the butterfly.
In lane 1, Morgan Wester for Blaine. Evelyn Altpeter is in lane 2.
Always one of my favorites just because they do need to have mastery of all 4 strokes, all 4 different turn styles in order to really post good times.
And on top of that, actually the individual medley has unique turns with it too that are not seen in any other race because of the transitions between the strokes.
Krista Clark with a very strong start and getting herself a nice lead in the middle for Blaine.
I believe that's Callie Stark. Sorry to correct you, Joe. Cross that out.
It's too many names.
It's a lot of names, Joe. It's a sheet that's packed with names. Yeah, Callie Stark, very experienced swimmer for Blaine. Been one of their top swimmers for a number of years here. This is an off event for her. She doesn't usually swim the 200 IM, but obviously doing very well so far. 106.9 at a 100 mark. That's a very good first 100 for sure.
Marissa Vang is currently running second for the Bengals in lane 3. A 3-way battle going for third spot. Alexis Edwards up at the top for Blaine, Emily Lovin, and Gabrielle Lewis for the Cardinals, all within half a body length.
It would be very interesting to see how the Cardinals do here. They're right on the cusp of it. They just need to try to get a little bit more push here in the breaststroke. Not an easy stroke to swim when you're tired, and you need to be efficient, have power.
Stark a full length ahead of second place, and that is again Alexis Edwards up in lane 7.
I coached Ellie Lewis for a couple years. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes a little bit of a run here to try to bring back and maybe get this third place. We'll see. She usually always finishes strong, but I think it might be a little bit too far.
Edwards a great freestyle in order to overtake Vang and take the second place, but Blaine will finish 1, 2, 3 again. And as we talked about, for these Cardinals, it's a lot about improving their own times, and it's hard to know what goals they've set, where they were at for every race to really know true success. We will take another break. Up next, the Splash and Dash 50-yard free from Northdale right after this.
Howie, do you know why fish are so bad at volleyball? Because they're afraid of the net.
Why me?
Why couldn't the volleyball player cross the road? There were too many bumps. Why was Cinderella kicked off the team? Because she ran away from the ball.
I hate you.
2 of the 50-yard freestyle, junior varsity. For Blaine, Joey Powell is in 2 for Coon Rapids, Sophia Harris in 3 for Blaine, Mary Carter is in lane 4 for Coon Rapids, and Anthony Sullivan is in lane 5 for Blaine, Ava Bauman is in lane 7 for Blaine, Chelsea Parrish is in lane 8 for Blaine. Here are the results of 50-yard individual medley varsity. 5th place, Emily Lovin, Coon Rapids. 4th place, Gabrielle Lewis, Coon Rapids. 3rd place, Marissa Bang for Blaine. 2nd place, Alexis Edwards for Blaine. And 1st place is time of 2:21.69. Senior from Blaine, Callie Stark. Scores Coon Rapids 10, Blaine 36. Heat number 3, 50-yard freestyle, junior varsity. Lane 6, Brianna.
Back at Northdale Middle School pool, Blaine swimming strong through the first couple of events, have a 36-10 lead. And now the fastest event, the sprint to the finish.
We're attempting a goggle retrieval here in the middle of the pool. I don't know if
well, it's hard to go find your goggles when you're missing your goggles. Fortunately, she's got a friend on the sidelines that said, no problem, I'll go get them.
I'm not surprised it was Lily Moulton that jumped in. I've been in practice a couple times, and she's a fun personality. So,
well, you know, we did the preview with Coach Radis this past week, and she raved about the personalities on the team. A small but fantastic group.
They have a great group. They really do, and I'm really excited for them for that. And they seem to be having a lot of fun. So.
Swing for Blaine
In the 50-free, Bella Barton, Lily Brummett, and Tyler Schuda are the Cardinals. Reese Penoyer, Kate Penoyer, Navia Miller, and Gabby Bush are the Bengals. And it's a 1-2-3 Bengal lead convincingly as Miller shuts it down with a 25.89 and another 1-2-3 finish for the Bengals.
That race is all about getting a good start, having a great turn, and just getting turnover going, and Nevaeh really got that up and moving here in that race. Looks like the Cardinals had some time drops, so that's always good to see. And Joe, we're heading to diving.
Yes, we are. We've reached the point where they make it over into a diving pit. And we'll be back for the longest portion of the broadcast, which is diving. That's coming up next on CTN.
Did you know that a player will jump an average of 300 times per game of volleyball?
Wow. And I think jumping up to go to the fridge is hard.
The fastest volleyball serve was over 83 miles per hour.
Yikes. If that serve were coming at me, they could have the point. I like my hands. They're dainty.
Huh?
As you know, CTN on YouTube and on the go. And it's because of your faithful viewership that we can celebrate 10,000 subscribers to the CTN YouTube page. Thank you for your support as we continue to keep you connected.
All right, we're about to start the diving competition. This is the order of divers. Diving first will be Kendall Black from Blaine. Second will be Haley Nolan for Coon Rapids. Third will be Peyton Soviet Hammond for Blaine. Fourth will be Rebecca Witzke, Coon Rapids. Fifth will be Madison Black for Blaine. Sixth will be Maddie Lund for Blaine. Diving seventh will be Sydney Bush for Blaine. Round one, Kendall, 201A, back dive straight, 1.7.
Back in Northdale Middle School pool and ready for our first diver, Kendall Black from Blaine. Joe Yund and Doug Donaldson here for the battle for supremacy at Northdale Middle School pool, and Blaine showing healthy mid-season form so far.
Yeah, they're a solid team, and they have a lot of depth with their team size. They're going to continue that here in the diving competition, but Haley's going to go out there and give it her best shot here.
And we talk about, you know, the how hard it is to get kids out for the swimming and diving team. I have to imagine divers, because they have a little bit more unique skill set, even harder to find sometimes when times are lean.
It is, and a lot of it just comes down to diving is really scary. You know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's not always it's not an easy sport, and it's connected to swimming. It's a part of swimming and diving, but diving on its own it's a hard sport because it's so mental. The repetition is important, and you're sacrificing a lot on each dive. What I mean by that is you have a lot of risk.
16.2.
Rebecca had a nice dive there, forward dive tuck.
Forward dive tuck, 1.2.
It's the same dive we'll see from Madison Black here for Blaine.
You're looking for height, you're looking for a nice tight tuck, you're looking for a straight up and down entry into the water.
401B, inward dive pipe,
Madison
1.5.
15.6, I believe, on that last dive. Good score.
Maddie Lund with an inward dive in the pike position.
22.5. Sydney.
Inward dive, obviously you're facing back towards the board. Starting with your feet hanging over. Pretty well executed inward dive pike there from Sydney Bush.
24. Round 2.
She posts the top score for round number 1.
1.2.
A solid total score that you're trying to achieve on each dive is about 25 points. That'll get you to 150. And 150 is about an average score in diving. Your elite divers will be over 200.
Haley. 201A, back dive straight, 1.7.
And I notice they don't always switch which board. Different girls just want to use the board they like better.
Yeah. In this instance specifically, Blaine and Coon Rapids both practice here. They practice on these boards, and so they likely have a favorite board that they use in practice as well.
11.05.
And so they just continue to do that in the meet.
Peyton. 102A. Forward 1 somersault straight, 1.6.
I mean, to this point, 8 dives in. I think we've only seen 2 off the other board. Peyton with a forward
18.4.
somersault,
Rebecca.
straight position.
102C. Forward 1 somersault tuck, 1.4.
Now we're starting to get into more rotations after that first round. First round of diving is usually your, they call them voluntary dive. It's actually the required dive. I don't know why it's called voluntary, but it's usually a simpler dive. It has to be under a certain degree of difficulty typically. And so now you're seeing a little bit more degree of difficulty, more rotations, more twists as we go through these rounds.
Maddie.
16.1 for Madison Black.
Somersault tuck, 2.2.
That is a, yeah.
Lund staying with the inward 1.5.
And that is a really, really nice dive. She gets 4.5s and 5s on that for a total of 30.8. That's mainly because of the degree of difficulty. If you look at the sheet here, Joe, I actually think that was the hardest dive that's going to be done all night.
I do believe you are correct. 2.2. Forward 1.5 for Sydney Bush.
20.8.
2 4s and a 5. Just came out a little early on that one. Needed to hold on to that tuck just a little bit longer, spot the water a little bit better, and then kick out aggressively.
Forward 1 somersault with a full twist for Peyton Sobiech Hammond.
It's really well executed. Maybe needed a little bit more height to get some of those higher scores, but 4.5s and 5s, not bad.
Bekowitzki in third place after 3. Inward dive, tuck position.
16.8.
Really impressed by Rebecca. This is her first year on the team and first year of diving, so to already have what looks like 5 dives learned, that's a lot of progress, and very excited for her. She continues to improve.
Madison Black, back somersault.
17.25. Maddie, 103B. Forward 1.5 somersaults pike, 1.7.
Maddie Lund cranking up the difficulty. Yet again, 1.7.
That was a very well executed dive. Just needed to be a little bit more vertical to get some of those higher scores. But 5, 5.5, 5 total points, 26.35 on that dive. She's bringing some heat here.
Really had some nice lines in the pike position.
She's sitting in first place now. After that dive, we'll see what Sydney's able to throw in here.
Back somersault, tuck position.
Maybe could have been a little bit straighter on the knees, but 5, 4.5, 5, 21.75. But Maddie Lund, with that last dive, put herself solidly in first place.
Yeah, and again, it was the 2.2 degree difficulty in round 3, and
Yes.
then 1.7 in round 4.
It's a part of diving that has to be considered when you're putting together dives and what you're able to do. You have to include degree of difficulty in the equation because it does come down to math. And when I say there's a lot of risk, it's also that you have to take those risks sometimes on the harder dives.
Yeah, playing safe can only get you so far if your opponent is cranking up the difficulty, getting those extra points.
Yeah, a lot of it just comes down to, you could have a deficient dive with a 2 or higher degree of difficulty, but if you're scoring, 3 points on that dive and you multiply it by 2.5, it's just that much more points that you're able to score, and it's simple math. And I will tell you, Joe, having coached for many years, it's hard to convince sometimes divers to take that risk a little bit and go to that harder dive to push that degree of difficulty because they're not easy to do. They're not easy to execute.
Lund with a reverse dive, tuck position.
26.4. Sydney, 302C, reverse 1 somersault.
Continues to grow her lead.
She is solidly on track to be over 150 points now. Just needs to execute those last 2 dives. That was a really nice reverse one somersault tuck by Sydney Bush.
25.6. Round 5. Rebecca. 202.
Only 3 remain in the final 2 rounds, and Rebecca, this will be her last dive. Back somersault in the tuck position.
Got to give Rebecca a lot of credit. That is not easy to do, to stand up there and do 2 back dives as a beginning diver. Not being able to see where you're going into the water, that takes a lot of guts.
Because she's only doing 5 dives, is she allowed to get team points?
It's a good question, Joe. Usually you need to attempt a 6th dive in order to be a varsity diver. And it has to be a legitimate attempt. I'm going to guess, based on the dive sheets and looking at what Maddie Lund and Sydney Bush did in round 1, that this week is actually inward week. And so by not doing inward dives, the other divers are not actually competing in varsity. So we might only have 2 divers competing in varsity tonight, is what I'm going to guess.
That's kind of what I assumed when I saw only 2 were going to round 6.
Yes.
Forward somersault with a full twist, free position.
21.85. Round 6.
And Bush with 114 after 5 dives. Final dive for Maddie Lund, a back dive in the tuck position.
Well, she certainly needed a good one to finish in order to get to 150. We'll see if it's enough, and just cracks over. 151.7 is her final score there. Nice job for Maddie Lund. Like I said, looking around the metro and everything, 150 points is a solid score. But obviously closer to 200 is your more elite athletes.
Sydney Bush, a very clean 1 somersault half twist. And she'll finish with a solid 141.
Nice finishing dive too. 27 points on a dive, nothing to sneeze at. So definitely a solid round for those girls. And quick diving tonight. We didn't have a ton of divers, and they dropped off as we went through. So that might be your shortest diving of the time you've been here. I don't know. We'll see.
Perhaps. Still a lot more to come from Northdale Middle School. Up next, the 100 butterfly. You're watching live girls swimming and diving on CTN.
All right, Joe. In high school football, the snap ends when A, the ball is moved from its place on the ground, B, the ball leaves the snapper's hands, or C, the ball touches the ground or any other player. You don't have to raise your hand, Joe. Yes, Joe?
I love football.
Ah, yikes.
Here are the results of the diving competition. 7th place, Haley Nolan from Rapids. 6th place, Kendall Black, Blaine. 5th place, Madison Black, Blaine. 3rd place, Peyton Sylvia Cannon, Blaine. 3rd place, Rebecca Witzke, Coon Rapids. 2nd place, Sydney Bush, Blaine. And in 1st place, we scored 151.7 from Blaine, Maddie Lund. Pool is now open for warm-up. timers report back to your lanes. The pool is now closed. Warm-ups are over. The pool is now closed. Exit the pool.
Back at Northdale Middle School pool, just about midway through the battle between the two pool mates, Coon Rapids and Blaine Bengals, both call Northdale Middle School pool home. And the home team for tonight's meet has felt very at home as Blaine has run up a big lead very early.
Well, as we said at the beginning, they have 3 times as many athletes, so that always helps. Coon Rapids has done a really good job so far tonight. I was talking with Ashley at the break, and they've dropped a lot of time, so that's what they're looking to do.
Emily Lovin and Elizabeth Hogarth are the 2 Cardinals in the pool. Madeline Lawrence, Annika Haig, Navia Miller, and Madeline Scott are the 4 Bengals.
100-yard butterfly, not an easy race, especially for the high school variety.
Navia Miller making it look easy early on.
Navia is a really good athlete. She's a distance swimmer, has been in the past, and she works hard, and not surprisingly, she's able to pull out a 100 butterfly here and put a good effort up. One of the reasons butterfly is so hard is because both arms moving at the same time throws your body out of position. A lot of drag involved in this race, and so you got to have power, you got to have endurance. And Navia easily winning that one. Got a battle here. Emily's coming in, maybe going to get 3rd here. She's really fighting.
And a very strong finish for Emily Lovin, and she will get there just ahead of Madeline Lawrence.
I think it was Annika Haig. Yeah.
Annika Haig, just above her.
Don't know what the time was. Our scoreboard's down again, but sometimes it's not about the time, Joe. Sometimes it's about the place. That 3rd place was a really, really nice finish for Emily. Look at this close finish here. Kicking hard all the way to the wall, trying to stay low, reaching for that finish. Can't do it much better than that, honestly.
So we will take a short break. Up next, the 100 freestyle on CTN.
Did you know you can raise backyard chickens? But a permit is required, and there's a limit of 4 female chickens per property. No roosters or other fowl are allowed. And there are specific rules for the chicken coop and run. For more information on this and other city codes, log on to coonrapidsmn.gov.
Today we're on soccer, Joe. So my goal is to kick around some topics with you, but I don't want to foul things up by being too forward.
Please stop that.
So could you assist me?
Stop.
Maybe pass some ideas so we can tackle this together?
Howie? Oh, boy.
I'm just saying, this really isn't my field.
Unbelievable.
Here are the results. The 1 meter diving in second place, Sydney Bush. In first place with a score of 151.70 from Blaine 91. The results of the 1 meter butterfly varsity. Fifth place was the Hogarth from Coon Rapids. Fourth place, Anna Haig from Blaine. Third place, Emily Lovin from Coon Rapids. Second place, Madeline Scott from Blaine. And in first place, time of 1 minute, .87 from Blaine, Nevaeh Miller. Heat number 2, the 100-yard freestyle junior varsity. Blaine Ron Samantha Hadley for Blaine, Madeline Romano is in lane 3 for Coon Rapids. Regular the center is in lane 3 for Blaine. Mary Carter's in 4th for Coon Rapids. Ava Bowman, lane 5 for Bowman. Joy Powell, lane 6 for Coon Rapids. Angela Capo, lane 7 for Blaine.
Back at Northdale Middle School pool, getting ready for the 100 freestyle. Lily Brummett, one of the Cardinals senior captains, and 8th grader Tyler Schuda will both be in the pool. For Blaine, it's Taylor Brouillard, Ashley Ripley, Reese Forrest, and Kate Penoyer. And they're off.
100-yard freestyle. Very important to get out very aggressively after that first 50 yards. You cannot take this easy. You have to be out fast. You can see Blaine is pouring it on here. strong leads for all 3 girls in the middle of the pool.
Well, and they just have so many freestylers.
It makes a huge difference in your team depth. There's quite a few freestyle events. There's 2 freestyle relays. You have at a high school level, you have to be good at freestyle in order to be a good team. You could have as many breaststrokers in the world, but that's basically 2 events, 3 events. It's not that many. It is crucial to have freestylers. So,
well, in the exhibition rounds of 53,
yeah,
14 of the 16 lanes in the last 2 exhibitions were Blaine swimmers. And Bengals come out here and post another 1, 2, 3. Cardinals will come in 4, 5. Almost together are Brummett and Shuda. 37.2, 38.2. Their times will stick around as we do not have a JV for the 500.
I just want to point out, though, about Lily and Tyler on those 100 free times. They both dropped what looks to be more than 10 seconds on their 100s. Now, those times might have been from earlier in the season. They may not have updated those times over the last week, but that's an incredible swim to drop that much time in just a few short weeks. I mean, it's,
Well, Coach Radis was talking about, a couple of girls setting PRs in the first meet of the season. What that means is, one, you've got a lot of youth.
Yes.
But that also means you have a ton of potential to continue to drop those times and, see just how much faster you can be going at the end of the season.
This is an interesting point in the season because for a team like Coon Rapids, they have a lot of inexperience, they have a lot of youth. They're going to keep getting better. And so what you'll see typically is begin the season, it doesn't look like you're anywhere close. And by the end of the season, you put in that work. And people genuinely are surprised because you've gotten that much better.
Well, we always talk about swimming is a team sport, but it's also an individual sport. And
yes,
more than the girl in the lane next to you, whether teammate or opponent, it's more about beating that time on the scoreboard, your time, competing against yourself, and continuing to get better. And this one, obviously, is all about endurance and pacing. Because if you burn too fast in the first half, makes that second half really long. 500 is a long way to swim.
It is, Joe. It's not the farthest you could possibly swim in the sport of swimming, but in high school it is our farthest event. Typically takes an average swimmer about 6 minutes or better to swim a 500. Your faster swimmers will be closer to that 5-minute mark. But it is definitely, like you said, a race about pacing. It's about staying in your own race, not getting sucked into somebody else's race next to you. The last thing you want to do is get off of your race strategy and be too aggressive in the first 100 or 200 yards. It can be very detrimental to your race if you do something like that. So it's really important to stay long in your stroke. You see Gabby Lewis here, very talented swimmer for Blaine. You can see how long she's getting, the reach she's getting with each stroke. Balanced body position in the water, so her hips are higher, her feet are breaking the surface. She's not dragging through the water. Typically in the 500, you'll see a lot of athletes breathe every other stroke. That's more for, actually, I think this is Lana Ryan is what it looks like. Yep, sorry, Lana Ryan. So you'll see athletes breathe every stroke or every other stroke. That's because your system, your body actually goes into aerobic, the aerobic capacity, and so you need to be breathing in order to expel that buildup of lactic acid, and that's kind of the energy system that your body will use over a 500. So you're not going to be holding your breath during a 500 by any means. You would during a 50 if you're really good, because you don't need the oxygen during the 50 in order to actually swim it. But in a 500, you have to do that. So
Yeah, Lana Ryan, just a sophomore and way out in front of everyone as a length on her nearest competition. Battle for second place could be intriguing as we move forward. Gabrielle Lewis for the Cardinals in lane 4. It's barely behind Pollock up in lane 7.
Yeah, it does look like she's in the mix here for second place, potentially, if she can keep with it. Ella No, I wouldn't count out either. She's always been a consistent 500 swimmer in lane 6 for the Cardinals. I've coached her for many years, and she's one of those that can typically hold her splits pretty evenly. If Ellie is in the mix with 50 yards to go, as I mentioned in the 200 IM, she is a racer, and she will give it everything she has. I don't see her catching Lana Ryan for first, but a second place showing would be really, really strong for her.
Yeah, as she's about to get lapped by Lana Ryan.
Yeah, Lana is definitely pacing the field by quite a bit here. She just put in a 33.7 second 50. Next closest split looks to be a 36. So 3 seconds per 50. That's quite a significant margin. She will catch Ellie Lewis here probably in the next, I would say about 7,500 yards, something like that. But that being said, it's not about the person next to you. It's about improving on your own swims, your own technique, and really something to think about sometimes is it's also not necessarily about always beating your time. Sometimes it's about trying something new and doing something different in your race strategy to see if it works and taking that risk. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's one race. We move on, because I know this is Ashley's goal as well for each of these athletes. It's about the end of the season. And so you're trying to do the things you can to make sure that your end of the season ends how you want it to. And that's at sections, and that's swimming your fastest. So sometimes it is about trying to mix those things up. Looks like Lana Ryan's going to pass Gabrielle Lewis here.
Yeah, but Lewis has done a nice job of pulling further ahead of Pollock for Blaine up at the top and really getting herself in a solid number 2 spot. Yes, she's a full lap behind the leader, but Lana Ryan has just had a tremendous swim as she comes in with a 5:24.
5:30. Oh, yeah, 5:20. No, I think we got, no, lane 5 is Lana Ryan. We got a, there we go, 5:42 is this. That's not the right split either. Sorry. Looking at the board here, and what actually happened is one of the timers pushed the button before the touchpad was engaged, and so you had 3 lines across the board. So they'll have to adjust that time in the computer system. Ellie Lewis coming home strong.
Yeah, she's finishing
solidly
hard, and she will be all alone in second place.
This is going to be a heck of a time for Ellie Lewis. 6:09.28. I'd have to check, but that might not be that far off of what she went at sections last year. So that is that's a heck of a swim for her. She's going to be excited about that, I know. And Ella No, 6:24. That is a fantastic swim for her as well. 8 seconds off of her previous best. So great improvements by those girls.
Well, only a couple of events remaining. Up next will be the 200 freestyle relay. You're watching Girls High School Swimming and Diving on CTN.
Did you know City Code prohibits outdoor storage of things like building materials, auto parts, household items, scrap metal, garbage, and more? Thank you for helping our city look its best. For more information on this and other city codes, log on to coonrapidsmn.gov. know properties are required to have garbage and recycling service with a licensed hauler? On collection day, place your carts 2 feet behind the curb. Collection containers should not be placed in the street. And don't forget, containers are not allowed at the curb on non-collection days. For more information on this and other city codes, log on to coonrapidsmn.gov.
So Howie, did you know the term soccer actually came from England?
But don't the English call soccer football, like pretty much everyone else?
Yeah, but only after we started saying soccer and the world was mocking us for it.
So you're saying the UK set us up?
Yep, sabotage.
Brits.
With 4 events remaining, the Blaine Bengals have secured the win after the 500 free, a lead of 94-26. But again, as we talked about, the Cardinals will still have some celebrating, some successes to celebrate. As we talked about earlier, some times dropping significantly from previous times reported on the score sheets.
Well, as I said at the end of the 500, that time from Ellie Lewis, I thought was about her section time last year, and I looked it up, and it was only 2 seconds off. So very nice swim for her early on in the season.
And now the 200 free relay, and we were talking about it earlier, the number of freestylers you need to be a really successful and competitive team, and Blaine is loaded with freestylers. Cardinals just one team in the water, Ella No leading it off. She'll be followed by Liz Hogarth, then Tyler Schuda and Lily Moulton will finish it off. And No got him a lead.
you need some really good freestylers. You need to be able to win some relays, even if you're a smaller team. And then you got to have enough depth points so that you're not giving up points too much in depth in order to beat some of the bigger, stronger teams. The Cardinals are still young. They're not there yet, but they don't have to get up to 60 girls in order to be competitive with Blaine. In the next couple years, if they can get into that 35, 40 range, have some girls, stay in the program, continue to get better, continue to improve, work outside of the season, then they'll have a chance to be competitive for sure. So
Ashley Ripley was able to overtake the lead for Blaine in lane 3. Eden Moye trying to hold off Coon Rapids' Madeline Murillo. And Murillo with a nice 50 is going to take that lead right back, going to their final leg. Oh, I'm sorry. Shuda overtaking Murillo to get the lead back. Lily Moulton in the water and trying now to hold off Nevaeh Miller, which we've seen Nevaeh Miller very strong already in several events this meet, and she shows up again here to come from behind and finish with an impressive victory.
Let's see if Lily can hold on for second. Oh, got out touch for second place.
Just by hundredths of a second.
Event 19. 100-yard backstroke junior.
We will take another break. Up next, the 100 backstroke. You're watching CTN's coverage of girls high school swimming and diving.
Did you know Coon Rapids has a city code regulating the height of your grass? Grass and weeds must be kept under 8 inches high. Thank you for helping our city look its best. For more information on this and other city codes, log on to coonrapidsmn.gov.
Okay, I have a couple good ones for you, Joe. How do football players stay cool? By standing next to the fans. What kind of tea do football players drink? Penalty. Why can't you play football with pigs? Because they hog the ball.
Back at Northdale Middle School, 100 backstroke upcoming between the Bengals and the Cardinals. For Coon Rapids, they have Madeline Romano, Lillian Defoe, and Lily Moulton. For Blaine, Madeline Lawrence, Ellie Graff, Sydney Edwards, and Arabella Layton.
I'm really looking forward to Lillian Defoe in lane 4 here. She obviously had a really good 50 leading off the 200 method relay. This might be an event Coon Rapids could get a first place in tonight if Lillian has a good swim. So hopefully she can put it together and putting a good time here. Started off strong, explosive start off the wall. A little bit slower underwater. Edwards in lane 5 is right next to her. We'll see off the turn here. They both came up about even. Lillian's seems to be pulling much better on the stroke in terms of actually swimming. We'll see if that's able to hold up. She's got a slight lead. She can maintain her body position. I think she'll have a shot here to pull out of first place. 33-1 on the first 50. That's a great split for her. She's just got to keep those legs up. Starting to tire a little bit. Got to get in and off of this wall. You can see the underwater was a little short. She's going to have to push it just to get home here. Sydney Edwards giving her a run for her money. I think Lillian sees her. Looks like she's going to take it for the win. Solid swim, 108.9 on the finish. Not a best for the season, but a really nice swim. Good first place for Lillian. And that's a very competitive time. She'll have a lot of chance at sections to hopefully be top 8 in the 100 backstroke. And looking forward to what she can do throughout the rest of the season for sure.
Well, and she is just a sophomore.
Yes.
Younger sister to former captain Eleanor Defoe, I would have to assume.
Yep, yeah, exactly right.
And you can see the long arms, definitely a benefit in most swim strokes, but certainly in the backstroke. And she does do a nice job of really keeping her body up on top of the water.
Yes.
And that gets her to that first place finish. Just a couple of events left. Up next, the 100 breaststroke on CTN.
Vehicles left outside on your property must be in operable condition and parked on an improved surface with current registration displayed. And repairing or dismantling vehicles outside is a violation of city code. For more information on this and other city codes, log on to coonrapidsmn.gov. Back at Northdale Middle School pool, Joe Young joined by former Cardinal head coach Doug Donaldson. Really appreciate you joining me and adding some legitimacy to the broadcast when it comes to swim knowledge.
Well, I have a lot of fun, obviously watching swim meets. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm very happy to be here and helping you guys out. Wish I could have run into Howie tonight too, but it's just the way it goes. And he asked me last night to fill in, and I was very happy to do so.
Well, we do greatly appreciate it. 100 breaststroke, Alexis Edwards, Isabel Murillo, Gabby Bush, and Ellie Graff are the Blaine swimmers. Evelyn Altapeter and Caitlin Davis are the two Cardinals in the pool.
This is very much a race where you'll be looking for kind of in the middle of the pool. Gabby Bush is certainly the favorite in this race. Evelyn has made a lot of improvements over the last couple years. I had the privilege to coach her for a couple years, and it's been fun to see her growth. She certainly has made huge jumps in the breaststroke. I expect her to be competitive at the end of the year at sections, and hopefully she can put in a good time here. I think she's got a really solid chance. Looks like she's well clear of everyone for second place. And she's got a nice stroke. She really gets to the body line that you need to in breaststroke to be efficient, with the kick finishing into that streamline. She's got to work on her underwaters a little bit, but she's got a big future ahead in breaststroke. I think she could be really good.
Yeah, very clearly in second place. And she kept pace really with Gabby Bush for the majority of the race, but Altapeter will get to the wall in 1:23.9.
That looks to be a best time by about a second and a half as well. So that's really encouraging to see. A lot of credit to Caitlin Davis here as well in lane 6 from Coon Rapids, 1:39.8. That was a 7-second time drop. She's actually recovering from an arm injury as well that happened during the summer. So she's wearing a brace. So she's toughing it out. It's pretty impressive.
And there you can see the excitement on first-year head coach Ashley Radis about both of those things you just said, her competing through the pain and turning in a much better time, 9 seconds. That's a significant amount of time to drop just in the 4th week of the season. We'll take one more break. We'll be back for the final event, 400 freestyle, coming up next. Back at Dorothdale Middle School pool, getting set for the final event, the 400-yard freestyle relay, as we've talked about all evening long. Blaine, just a more experienced, larger, healthier club, has run away with it on the scoreboard, but a lot of little wins for the Cardinals along the way, just based on the times they're showing and how much time they're dropping from meet to meet this early in the season.
There's been a lot of improvement tonight. The Cardinals did get a first place out of in the 100 backstroke from Lillian Defoe.
And Evelyn Altpeter got a second place finish in the 100 breaststroke. And she's just a freshman. It's a freshman and a sophomore.
Yes.
Good pieces to try to build around for this young program.
This can sometimes be one of the hardest events, the 400-yard freestyle relay. It's the last event of the meet. It's a relay, so there's big points on the line. You've probably swam 3 events already. This is your 4th event of the night. And you have the extra pressure of having to go out and, swim for 3 other people. So you can't just glide your way through it because they're relying on you to swim fast as well. It is a tough race a lot of times to get a full effort out of individuals, because it's easy to say I'm tired, I don't think I can go faster, and it's but it can be crucial. This, as Joe and Howie have been here to witness, the 400-yard freestyle relay literally can decide a meet.
We have seen it happen.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think we've been fortunate enough actually to see that occurrence on a couple of different occasions. At least once between these 2 programs. I believe it was on the boys' side.
It was on the boys' side, yep.
And went down to the 400 free, and the Cardinals out-touched for the win. It was first place was the win. That was it.
That was it, yep. Wasn't really an out-touch. We were ahead by a body length at the finish, but nice to add the drama there.
The
Joe.
poetic nature.
Yeah. I wasn't worried.
It was dramatic.
I wasn't worried. Okay, I knew we had Tyler Schultz, who's a school record holder, on the back end of that relay, and I knew we weren't going to lose as long as we were close going into his leg. So, but it was an important win for us on the boys' side, for sure. Something interesting, maybe viewers out there have noticed tonight, is that lane 4 for Coon Rapids has been empty most of the night in the relays. That is a specific strategy decision by Ashley Radis to hopefully give the Cardinal athletes in this relay more of a race, so that they're not racing against necessarily the 2 fastest relays from Blaine, but they're hopefully racing against some of the other relays on the outside. That's indicative of kind of knowing your competition and knowing where the races are going to be, and I think it's a really smart move. Some will say, well, you want to race against the best. Yes, you do, but at the same time, if you know as a coach that your fastest 100 freestyler is 2 or 3 seconds behind their fastest 100 freestyler, in a 400-yard freestyle relay, you could be 15, 20, 25 seconds behind by the end of that relay. You're never going to be within sight of them. So I think it's really good to try to establish some races, and that's really important to get that experience in a race and knowing, hey, I'm just trying to beat the relay next to me.
Well, and there's a perfect example right there down at the bottom of the pool with Blaine in lane 1, Coon Rapids in lane 2, and it's a tight race. And the 2 Blaine teams in 3 and 5 way out ahead. 5 already done.
3 coming in.
3 coming to the wall.
Right. Lane 7 is going to be finishing here in 5 seconds. But you got lane 2, the A relay from Coon Rapids is racing the D relay from Blaine, and it's a close race. And it's an important finish here. Let's see if Lillian, and she got out-touched. But that's an important race. That's going to build experience for the Coon Rapids girls team. And, you know, say what you want. I love it. I think it's great because I think it's a perfect thing from a coach to say we have to focus on the things that we can do. And if I'm going to get these girls to race and get that experience of racing, putting them in lane 4 is not going to do it. Because as you saw, they would have been 20 seconds behind, and they're never going to see those girls. So they're swimming in open water. There's no one to race. Well, that was a great race for them.
And you heard the intensity build from both teams as they reached the final 5 yards, because it was a race. It doesn't matter. The other 6 lanes don't matter. It was a race between those 2 lanes, and I think you're absolutely right. And it does make it more fun, and it brings that intensity that gets that adrenaline going, and also it pushes you to be that much faster next time you take the pool.
Absolutely.
Well, that seemed to go by very, very fast. I want to thank you again, Doug, for coming and hanging out with me this evening, and again, adding to the knowledge level, which isn't hard around here when it comes to swimming.
Well, thank you, Joe. It was a blast. It was really fun to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity, and good luck with your fall sports season.
Well, I appreciate that, and we appreciate everyone out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, I'm Joe Young saying goodnight.